So I was scrolling Twitter the other day, and I stumbled upon tweet that our Vice President J.D. Vance put out. He's calling something very disgraceful, so it definitely intrigued me. I saw Bernie Sanders there, so I know I'm going to be in for a doozy here. Apparently there was a bill for uh, young cancer patients, and Bernie Sanders was the only one to vote no on said bill. Now, when I heard this, I was like, okay, there's gotta be something more to this than just Bernie hates children with cancer, right? So let's get into it.
For a year, and it passed the House by voice. Not one single person objected to this. Why? Because why wouldn't you want to allow kids, our kids, an opportunity to simply have the same opportunity as adults do with cancer?
To offer more context about the bill, it was officially named the Michaela Nalin Give Kids a Chance Act. It basically allowed pediatric cancer patients to receive experimental drugs or treatments that they were previously not have access to because they were children and couldn't, you know, make the choice themselves to do that. Um, and I think overall it looks like a good bill, but you're about to see very quickly why this is just, in my opinion, a Republican sob story that they're overblowing and they're just demonizing the Democrats once again and trying to divide us even more.
Answer, and I strongly support that effort, period. I think we can all imagine the kind of heartbreak that parents go through when they learn that their babies or their young children have been diagnosed with cancer. And I should say that as the former chair of the Health Committee, I was actively involved in the bipartisan agreement that we reached over a year ago, which included the Give Kids a Chance Act. Bipartisan support, ready to go.
I want everyone to notice what he just said right there. He said that this was included, this same bill was included a year ago, and both parties wanted it. He's about to explain the reason why. It's basically just Elon Musk, him threatening Republicans, Trump pressuring Republicans, because they don't want us to unite as one. They want to divide us in between these parties, when really this bipartisan agreement that Bernie's discussing was going to help so many Americans. And all Bernie wants is he doesn't want to get rid of this this act. He just wants to amend it and add the things that they previously agreed on 1 year ago. He's just asking to amend it, which is why he's objecting. So I am in agreement with him here. I just say, like, why not include both? I don't see the issue with including.
Ready to go. Sadly, that enormously important legislation was torpedoed, as some of you will recall, by a series of tweets by Elon Musk. And Republicans became frightened and they gave up on that bipartisan legislation. As the current ranking member of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, I believe that we must revive that bipartisan agreement that was worked on month after month after month by Democrats and Republicans. Therefore, in a minute, I will be making a unanimous consent request to include this bipartisan health care package, again, an agreement that was supported by the leadership in the House and the Senate as an amendment to the Give Kids a Chance Act, and I hope very much that my Republican colleague will support that amendment and we can go forward together. And let me very briefly describe what my amendment would do, which I hope my Republican friends will support. And I say this at a time, as all people know, not only that our health care system is broken, our primary health care system is especially broken. Tens of millions of Americans today cannot get to a doctor when they need to. And there are estimates, you talk about people dying, there are estimates that tens of thousands of people die in the United States of America because they are sick and they can't afford to get to a doctor when they should. And that is why community health centers are so very important and provide health care today, dental care, low-cost prescription drugs, mental health counseling to over 30 million Americans. And all we are doing here is asking my Republican colleagues to support the bipartisan agreement we had last year, which would increase funding for community health centers by $340 million. Mr. President, in fact, according to the Commonwealth Fund, health centers today are facing a disastrous situation. In fact, they face losses of nearly $42 billion in revenue over the next 5 years. So community health centers are a lifeblood. They are the way the low-income, working-class people in rural America, urban America, get the health care they need, and we are seeing them under enormous financial strain. Just this past year, we had a health center site in Vermont, and I understand 2 in New Hampshire, that were forced to shut down because lack of funding. What do you think happens when people can't get to a doctor? You know what happens when they're sick? They die. This is happening all over America. We all know that primary care is critical for children, in fact, in detecting cancer early, saving lives. How do you think children with cancer, how do we learn about it? They go to a doctor. If they don't go to a doctor, we don't find out about it.
You know, when I first saw the Republican headlines and the news articles bashing Bernie Sanders for not helping the kids with cancer, I was kind of disappointed because I mess with Bernie. I mean, he's one of my favorites. I think he's a no crap kind of guy, and he's trying to get a lot of good things for us, including universal health care, which I think is a human right, in my opinion. But we're just not at that point as a country yet. So these small steps that he's taken, I think, are very beneficial. And that last part, those last parts that he mentioned were very important to me. He was talking about low-income families. I come from a low-income family. The only way that they're able to get medical assistance is through these community health cares. That's how they're able to get medical assistance, and that's how they're able to detect the so-called cancer that you care so much about. You care so much about that you're able to make this big stink about it. Why don't we help prevent those kids? Why don't we spot it early? Why don't we do these things instead of just, oh no, the kids have cancer, let's try last-ditch effort, let's give them all the experimental crap. Like, it would just make sense to take these steps that we already agreed on. He said bipartisan agreement. We agreed to have the Michaela-Nayland Act, and we agreed to have all this funding go to these health cares. And they're just acting like, oh, Bernie, oh, what are you doing? You're bringing all this random stuff that we've never done before. This is literally an agreement that they already had. He's just like, all right, let's slap this other stuff on and help more Americans. At the surface level, it seems like Bernie's stopping progress. But really what's happening here, he's the only one with the balls to be like, okay, Republicans, you can't just cry about the kids with cancer and then act like you didn't literally aren't the reason why the kids with cancer already have this research and a lot more other stuff for everybody else. It just, Bernie is in full agreement. This act needs to be passed. He's on board with it. I'm on board with it. Let's do everything we can to extend these kids' lives, give them hope, and help these families out. Right? The problem arises when we had all this other stuff that was going to help people, a lot more people, and it was all lined up, and it was going to be great. And now they're just acting like, oh, what are you doing? You hate children with cancer. Oh, you want to help more people? Oh, we're going to make this about you. And it's not about politics. We're literally doing politics right now. This is what politics is. It is about politics. Like, this is going to help. What he's trying to do is help everyone. You're trying to help one group of persons, like, yay, we did it, we just saved America. Okay, that's great, but there's a lot of other crap that we need to be done. I get, like, the idea of, like, okay, let's take small steps. I think Bernie's at the point where he's done with taking small steps, dude, because these small steps, we're taking a bunch of small steps in the other direction. We're taking a bunch of big steps in the other direction, I mean, and these small steps forward, they're not catching us back up, right? Debt's increasing, people are suffering, people are hopping off their insurance because it's too high. It's like, we need to make change now. Big change. And it is what it is, man. Let's listen to what this absolute buffoon has to say. Sorry.
I recognize the senator from Oklahoma.
You know, Mr. President, everything that the senator from Vermont just wrote about was why I think he supported affordable health care, a.k.a. Obamacare. I thought it was supposed to fix all this stuff that he's wrote about, and we figured out it hasn't. It's wrecked the system. It's unaffordable for the American people. Yet it was the Democrats that sold us, or sold the American people on it. Not us, not Republicans, sold the American people on it. It's been disastrous. And so now
I probably wouldn't have called him a buffoon if he didn't just completely humiliate himself right there. Like, he's talking about making an amendment to the bill. And you're like, no. Okay, let me hear your reasons why. The first thing that comes out of your mouth is, oh, well, the Democrats, affordable health care, yeah. What did Bernie just say about affordable health care? Well, did he say anything about that? No, he was talking about helping Americans. And you're like, but Democrats, it's just like, that's just so sad. Like, I would have heard him out if he genuinely would have, like, defended the claim first. But no, he's just, Democrats, evil. Like, what are you doing, dude?
he wants to hold kids that are dying of rare diseases and pediatric cancer. Want to hold them hostage to now try to push his agenda farther and not go through the committee of jurisdiction, but hold the kids hostage. The kids. Everything the senator from Vermont just talked about was political. I'm talking about lives. I'm talking about giving kids a chance to live an extra day or a lifetime. That's what I'm talking about. This isn't nothing to do with politics. Nothing. Nothing I'm talking about has to do with politics. This has to do with kids. Yet my senator from Vermont wants to make it about politics. You know, this time of the year at Christmas, we talk about Grinches all the time, right? They go in and they steal the kids' gifts. But at the end of the show, their hearts grow bigger and they give the gifts back. And they allow kids to be excited about Christmas morning.
All right, man. You went too far. You called my boy Bernie Sanders a Grinch. I had to do research on this guy, right? This is a man who believes that the 2020 election was stolen. Which, okay, he loves Trump. He loves Trump. He will defend every single one of Trump's moves. Like, no matter how heinous or egregious or unpresidential they are. This is Trump's right hand, one of his right hand guys, you know? Wink, wink. He also said, you know, he's talking about these kids. He has so much love for these kids. He wants to help these kids. He wants to protect these kids. But I looked up his stance on, you know, circumstantial abortion. He has nope, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if it was an underage woman who has been brutally raped by an older person, you know, an older man, I should say. He doesn't care if, per se, an 11-year-old got pregnant by a 30-year-old man. He doesn't care. That 11-year-old's having the baby. That's what he thinks. He cares so much about the kids, though, right? He doesn't care about the incest. Nope, you're having that baby. That's just sick. That's disgusting. He said that about his wife, too. He said, if my wife's life was at risk, she's not having that abortion. I'm just letting you know what kind of man this guy is who claims he cares so much about these kids. Because he called my boy Bernie a Grinch, so, take that.
What's happened right here in front of us, the Grinch is still in kids' lives, and there's still hope from the families. Hopes from the families that might have an opportunity just to try for a political agenda. And I hope to God that every single family that's going through this will hold the Senator from Vermont accountable, and the state of Vermont will hold him accountable too, because he's playing with kids' lives. He's literally killing kids in front of us because of his political movement. And it is ridiculous. And therefore, I object.
Wait. That was the end of his objection? I know that's what you guys are all saying too, right? Because this guy, he just objected against Bernie. He disagreed with Bernie. Can anyone point me in the direction of where the hell he said anything about, what Bernie was proposing? Why would it be bad to include that stuff in this bill? Why would it be bad? I just want to know, why is it so bad? Why is it so bad to include that stuff in the bill? This guy's answer? He's the Grinch, Democrats are all evil, no, we're not doing that, no. What? I genuinely thought he was gonna, after the Grinch embarrassment, I thought he was gonna pivot into, something more intellectual. No, that's all he's got. He had nothing to say about why we shouldn't include that in the bill. Just, you hate children with cancer. You want them to die, Bernie. Yeah, okay, sure.
The objection is heard, but remind senators that in a course of debate, not to disparage other senators' motives or character.
Well, let's speak the truth. Well, don't interrupt me.
There's objection to the modification.
I think I have the floor.
Is there objection to the original request?
What?
Objection is heard.
All right, Senator from Oklahoma says that I'm talking about politics. Well, if talking about politics means that millions of children have the right to see a doctor, I guess I am talking about politics. If talking about politics means that kids can get dental care when their teeth are rotting in their mouth or get mental health counseling, I guess I'm talking about politics. So once again, this important piece of legislation I support, but I also support passing the bipartisan piece of legislation that was worked on last year. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Dude, so much aura exuding out of Bernie right there, dude. He's like, speak the truth then, because you're not. You're just not. You're saying a bunch of stuff about, oh, you're a Grinch, you're trying to kill all these babies. That's what he's saying. He accused Bernie of killing all these children because he wanted to add other beneficial things to it. Like, what? Yeah, Bernie just fried him, dude. He's like, oh, because I'm the bad guy because I want kids who have rotting teeth to get, proper dental care and stuff. Like, okay, Bernie's the bad guy here. Okay. It's very frustrating. That's going to be a common trend on my page. It's just going to be a bunch of frustrating content, and there's going to be people in the comments with different opinions, and that's fine. But I just don't understand some of these people in our government. I truly don't. Yeah, all in all, I think this was a very good example of mainly the majority right now, the Republicans. They're really trying to divide. Both sides divide us. But I think right now it's overwhelmingly Republicans trying to divide us and just getting absolutely nothing done and then blaming the Democrats for being unproductive. You have the majority. And it's like, oh, the Democrats won't get a deal done. He literally tried to have a discussion with you. And he was like, okay, I don't want this. I want to add this and this because of these reasons. do you have like any counter to that? And he's like, Democrats bad. You hate children with cancer. You're killing them. It's like, you're just like, this is performative at this point, dude. Like, you don't actually care about these babies. You literally don't care if a 12-year-old gets impregnated by a grown man, she's gonna have to have that baby. Like, you're sick, dude. And he's over here crying about these kids with cancer. Like, Bernie's not trying to help them and more people. It's baffling, dude. It's very, very, very frustrating. And you might see me in this video like, oh, you're such a liberal, such a leftist. I don't care, dude. I don't really affiliate with any party, I would say. I'm like, okay, let's wait and see what the people are doing. But right now, there's just no way to justify some of the stuff that's coming out of the Republican Party with the Epstein cover-up, and I mean, some of the abortion laws are getting out of hand with the support of, no excuses for incest or rape. It's actually terrible and saddening to me. And I hope everyone can kind of not just like hate on me, and instead, try to see where I'm coming from. And maybe if I'm ill-informed, more informed people can, guide me in the right direction. Because honestly, there's just no way. I don't see if there's a way that people can justify some of this stuff. And the name calling and the berating for, I think Bernie is trying to make things better, and you're just slandering him like that on the Senate floor, it doesn't make sense to me. A lot of things aren't making sense to me, as you can tell by how many times I've said that, but it's just the reality, man. Oh, man, that's tough. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video up. Anyways, thanks for watching. This is a YouTube video style format. I'll be posting on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube. Please like. It's my first kind of content online, so I'm trying something that I'm pretty passionate about. Like, comment, please. Thanks. Thank you for watching.